has England changed in 60 years since the Empire Windrush brought the first Afro-Caribbeans here? Multi-ethnic life has brought out the worst in some people.
Put your hands up if it's happened to you this week. 1, 2.
People think sometimes you're like, you have no heart, or you're like a machine, you're out there, you go, you try to win the game and you go, we have feelings.
But in tonight's Focus, we celebrate a richer community.
Jamaica!
Raising money for the Caribbean Hurricane Appeal. In the Jamaican community, and especially here in their hometown of Southampton, they're a big name. Bass guitarist Scratch Gordon has been helping us. We asked him to make this program looking back at life here since the Windrush. How has the black community changed? And how have attitudes to them changed? Is racism still a problem? This is his story.
My real name is Versell Gordon, but everybody calls me Scratch. I'm 47 and a decorator. I've got 3 kids and I'm English through and through. I love my life. I want to go back through time and see how life has changed in the past 60 years.
London is the place for me. London, this lovely city. You can go to France or America, India, Asia or Australia, but you must come back to London City.
1948, Tilbury in Essex. For England, an iconic moment in black history. Complete with stowaways, there are 492 Afro-Caribbeans on the Windrush. They came here after the war because they'd heard Britain needed workers to help rebuild the economy.
Hello, it's an honor to meet you.
Donald Clark was on board. He was 28. Today, he wants another look. I got the chance to ask how he felt coming back.
I feel very pleased to be here because when we came the first time, we had a lot of pressure to find some way to live. You're here, you're glad to be in land, and you got to start thinking what you're going to do, where you're going to live, how you get a job, and that sort of thing. So it was 60 years now I've been here, and I've been able to get a family settled in, and I'm glad I did do it.
It's amazing.
Although I'm born in the West Indies, I'm still happy I've come here and stopped here eventually because I got a better life being here, I feel.
Well done.
Yes.
I have to thank you. It's been a pleasure to experience this with you.
Thank you very much,
sir.
I'm glad you are interested in it because it makes a difference. Young people have taken an interest in what we did at that time.
And I've sneaked my way in to see the old railway station where Donald and the others queued for their tickets.
Amazing.
It's incredible. Time has stopped. The cars left by passengers on the cruise liners are the only clue that we're in another century.
Tickets, please.
I'm surprised to find myself quite overwhelmed.
This just brings it all home. It's made me feel very emotional just standing in the very building where it all took place.
And while I'm looking back, I want to find out what sort of welcome they got. I'm not liking what I see and what I hear.
A pathetic sight. Yet they ask no pity from us, and naturally, a further Jamaican influx is not favoured. The Mayor put forward an answer to the problem.
First and foremost, of course, is the long-term policy that ultimately will have to be adopted. And that is the development of the West Indies themselves, because that is the only answer to this particular problem.
What an ignorant man.
And what about this? Apparently, they made this film to entice us to drive buses.
Here in the near countryside, 2 African students have to get back to their studies. A bus is now due. They have just time to catch it. They know that buses run to carefully prepared timetables and are always punctual. People never have long to wait.
They talk as if they're talking to children instead of educated people.
Wherever there are little children, people are kindlier. Africans in particular have a great love for them.
Africans
And somehow,
have a great
small
love of
Have
children.
a quick instinct and
How
seem
deep
to
is
know
that?
when they are with friends.
And to cap it off, a sign that says it all.
But how bad is racism today? My buddy Don John knows better than anyone. He's not just the Ebony Rockers manager, he's Southampton Council's Equalities Officer.
How bad is the graffiti really?
Well, there's a fair bit of graffiti in the city, but we do have a policy of removing graffiti, particularly racist graffiti, within 24 hours. Because, in a sense, I mean, when you see graffiti in a city, it kind of marks the character of the city, and also it diminishes the confidence of the people it's aimed at. And if they see graffiti around, they think, well, the city doesn't like me, whether I'm black or whether I'm Eastern European or whatever, and it's a good thing for a city to remove that as quickly as possible.
But of course, there's much worse going on than just graffiti.
Well, racism is quite commonplace in the city with 1,000 incidents a year. Verbal abuse is really the worst. It happens so often that people very much take it for granted and don't report it. There's racism in the workplace, there's racism at schools, which includes bullying. But of course the worst are physical attacks on people because of their different colour or their different faith. And that's one we really have to do a lot more work with.
But Don's got some good graffiti to show me.
What is this about society today?
Well, I think it tells us how much Southampton has really benefited from such a diverse community. We've got people from the Indian subcontinent, people from Eastern Europe, people from Africa, people from the Caribbean. We've got all kinds of people bringing all kinds of benefits to the city.
With all the distrust, it's good to see an event like this.
Blackbeard, get that flag up, mate. Well done, good lad.
The kids are rehearsing for a big day. It's Kick Racism Out of Football Week, and the Saints are planning a match parade.
Keep those flags flying high, come on.
Jamaica!
We're at Mount Pleasant School, where there are 16 nationalities. And little Quinny has to be a high hope for the talent scouts.
Football, very helpful, because obviously it takes his energy out and, you know, helps me a lot. He's knackered by the time he gets home, but he's proper getting into it.
But I'm afraid he's not much use for the Saints.
When I'm there, it's all about West Ham.
It's all about Chelsea's best player is Terry and Drogba.
They are rubbish.
No, they're not.
Very.
You got Terry on your back, mate.
Because he scored. He
So
plays
he's
for
not
England.
rubbish.
England.
England and Chelsea.
Black history, black history, black history.
On the other side of town, it's Ebony Rocker time. We're recording a new track, No Murder.
Black history, black history, black history.
We've done well as a band. We've been going 30 years from when I was 16 years old. The big break was when EMI came and looked at us and gave us a contract. Wow, we thought. Life is good. And here I am at the best place in town.
Yeah, this is the place I like to come to on a Friday. Step into the barbers, sit in the chair, kick back, and just let the week go over your head. It's also great to catch up on all the gossip, what's happening tonight, the girls. It's the last bastion, really, of black male supremacy.
It's a chance to talk about the big things in life.
Southampton doing good now, and just coming up back in.
Just back in the frame. I think Southampton will turn them over. But it's good to see that Watford will come down with their full strength.
But at the end of the day, we're still young, innit? It's a young team.
Come Christmas, we'll be back. We'll be back by Crimbo.
It's what I call the weekend grade 1. But the main thing on my mind is the next gig.
So you're doing later then?
I've got to rehearse later on. We've got a show to play.
Yeah.
Hurricane Appeal. So,
Hurricane Appeal?
Yeah.
Oh.
There's been a few hurricanes in the Caribbean lately, as you well know. Money after arrears, you know?
Good old Southampton. There are shops that sell my food.
Tonight, I'm gonna cook some itar. For that, I'm gonna need some plantains, pepper, and some okra. Love it.
Plenty of people come here. People who just realise how good our food is.
These days, a lot of people go abroad to the West Indies and other places on holiday, and when they come back, they want to try some of the foods. So they do come in and ask us about stuff and how we cook it, and we usually get them a recipe.
Cheers, bro. Thanks very much, yeah? Okay, sir.
After the break, I go to the Commons to find out what MPs have seen of racism.
There were white Labour Party voters who just refused to vote for a black person.
A special National Television Award to Julie Bridger.
There is one award ceremony that is different from the rest.
Julie Richard this morning!
It's the people's favourite.
Big Brother.
The TV award ceremony that relies entirely on your vote.
Thank you very much, thank you.
The National Television Awards 2008, Wednesday at 8, ITV1.
Attack, Your Highness.
You are requested by the highest authority.
It's a strange kind of rebel that slaughters his own.
There's more to this than simple rebellion.
I didn't look for this duty, but for better or worse, I'm responsible for your safety. Stand! The day will be ours.
Sean Bean returns in Sharp's Peril. Starts Sunday at 9, ITV1.
The Space Shuttle Pursuit launched from Arlington Space Centre this morning.
Get straight to the point with digital text on ITV. For the latest information fast, just press text.
Black History Month, and I'm looking at how life's changed here in England since the Windrush 60 years ago. I got the food, and I know where to find the cook. Nobby Gordon is a big mate of mine. He's chef at the Caribbean Sea Breeze in my hometown of Southampton. Nobby says, never mind about multicultural England. The real multicultural is in the cooking.
You've got Portuguese, you've got the British, you've got the Indians, you've got the Chinese. It's everything that's in a melting pot, and it gives you the flavour. You know, it's all different bits and pieces.
They were loving it. I asked a Puerto Rican what she thought of ordinary English food. And multicultural on the street? How much racism do the police see?
Hello, mate.
Their answer today, not a lot.
Hello, mate, how you doing? You all right?
But plenty of love.
You obviously do a lot of practicing. Yeah.
There's been a fair bit of crime, as you'd find in any inner city.
In February, I've been mugged just around the back.
Oh, really? This year, was that?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I had the 80 pound in my pocket, they took it.
How you doing? Hiya.
It's good the police come out here and show people they're around.
And, you know, you could get a public order incident that's racially aggravated, or you can get, you know, an incident where someone's been assaulted and that's racially aggravated. And obviously these offences are all looked upon in a different way, in a different light. And we recognise that fact. And we look to try and deal with them, if they are serious incidences, we try and deal with them seriously as well.
What do politicians think about racism? What has Diane Abbott seen of it? After all, she was the first black woman MP. I was lucky enough to meet her.
I think that any black person who says they have never experienced racism is actually deluding themselves. And any black professional person who says racism has not affected them in their profession is also deluding themselves. When I first ran in 1987, there were white party members who simply refused to work and campaign for a black person. There were white Labour Party voters who just refused to vote for a black person.
And how do you think multi-racism has enriched the society we live in today?
When I was a child, English people's idea of a meal out was roast chicken and chips and Black Forest gatto. Now English people eat Mexican food, Chinese food, Vietnamese food, Indian food, Thai food, and that's all to do with the different immigrant groups coming into this country. And it's all to do as well with British people travelling more widely for their holidays. But I mean, nowadays, racism is expressed as much towards Eastern Europeans as towards black people.
We can all be victims of racism, no matter who or what we are.
What about the young? I'm listening in as Don John talks to school kids about racism.
I live in a small town in the south of England where only a handful of Asian...
I want to gauge how they've been affected. The video's all about discrimination.
Racism must be challenged.
This is Mount Pleasant School, where they did the flag practice. A Polish girl told Don she'd seen racism.
Have you had some bad experiences?
Were bullying my family, and I was like feeling bad about it. They were throwing like sticks and like lots of things in my garden, make me angry.
Yeah.
And what about verbal abuse of any kind? Had any children suffered it?
Put your hands up if it's happened to you this week. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 out of 15. It's quite a lot, isn't it? Do you know that if somebody says a bad word to you at school, you can tell the teacher? Yeah? Children need to be aware of becoming victims of racism, because unfortunately, racism that many young people experience almost becomes natural and a matter of course. I think the other reason is also to educate children not to be the perpetrators of racism. I think that they need to be aware that things that they may say or do may be hurtful to other people because of their race or religion. And it's my hope that we'll be able to sort of push back the sort of the levels of institutional racism and hopefully provide results to ensure that everybody's treated fairly and equally.
Back at the restaurant, Nobby's wife Jenny says racism today isn't half as bad as it was when she came here as a child from Trinidad.
It was cold. I cried for many months. I started school and it was awful. I was Jungle Bunny, Gullywog, Tonka Toy, you name it, I was it. The teachers were picking on you. The kids were calling you names. So it wasn't very nice. Okay? Enjoy.
As blacks, we've got a sort of stereotypical sort of paintbrush put over us, We're all sort of lazy, layabouts, but we're not all that sort of thing, There's a lot of us that's trying to do things and work and help ourselves and help other people.
I'm now with my grandchildren, and those days have long passed. You still have it now and again, but it's great.
In football, of course, racism's been a problem for years. A few of the big names from rival teams got together to make a powerful commercial. Imagine what they think about some of the fans' behaviour, especially in Europe.
People think sometimes you're like, you have no heart, or you're like a machine, you're out there, you go, you try to win the game and you go, we have feelings.
And it's Kick Racism Out of Football Day at St Mary's. I'm pleased to see Quinny's leading the parade with the England flag, and his mate Isaac is right behind him. Each flag represents every Saints player's nationality, past and present. What a great idea. We're playing Watford, and both clubs do their best to keep a lid on racism. But boy, are we going to hammer them. Before kick-off, I got a chance to speak to one of the former Saints stars heading for the director's box, Nigerian Ruben Agbola, who was a great centre-back. I asked him how much trouble he'd had
There were certain grounds that you played at where you knew that the supporters were a bit racist, and you knew you were going to, every time you went for a throw-in, you knew there was going to be a few coins flying at you. Or just down the road from here, there was some choice fruit thrown once or twice in the game, I remember.
And what is the point of today's campaign?
Well, it's just to keep people aware of that it still does exist, and recently it has got worse in certain European countries. I don't think it's happening over here to that degree.
Much better than West Ham.
Things aren't going quite to plan.
If you know you can score that, I bet you could.
What a day. To make up for it all, the big night.
Yeah, live at the Soul Bar. We're late, but we're here. Main show. We're not just raising money, but we're having fun. Hurricane Appeal, live.
This is what I love doing. Great songs, great people, and a great band.
What making this film has brought home to me is that despite all the lingering racism, black society has enriched local culture. The sights and sounds we've brought, the music, the food. It's a sea change in England that should be celebrated.
This autumn, follow ITV1's 4-step plan for complete daytime entertainment. Step 1, discover your Midas touch.
I picked that money up as fast as I could.
Step 2, indulge in some fun.
They're absolutely horrible.
Step 3, learn new tricks in the kitchen.
It's all about timing.
And step 4, live on the edge.
This is life-changing money.
Autumn afternoons, weekdays from 2, ITV1.
Speak about the emotional state of an innocent man who's been in prison for that long.